Okay, let's test this program. And I also want to show you some debugging techniques that you can use in this program and other programs. So if I right click in here, let's make this happen. Start in Google Chrome. Now this code doesn't have validation, and this code doesn't do any checking whatsoever. It doesn't know whether there's any data at all. And in fact, if I go to list visitors and I haven't made any visitors, no new visitors have been added to the database, then it goes crash and lots of errors. Why are those errors? Because it's trying to open this file, ex3data.txt, and ex3data.txt does not exist because no time does the program save any data. All right, let's go back. Let's be a little nicer to it, and let's make a new visitor. So we go to new visitor, and we've got Pam, who's 17, lives in Dandenong. And if we go and save that, it says data saved, and a few seconds later it takes us back to the menu. Has that done something? I could go and list visitors, but before we do this, let's see what's happened here in Dreamweaver. If I go back to Dreamweaver and I look at my list of files, you can see now that this file, ex3data.txt, has now been created. All right, because our save program opens a file and therefore creates it. If I double click on this to have a look at it, you can see this file is exactly as expected. The first line is blank because we always say press enter, then put in the data. Enter being that /r/n, and then here's our data, Pam, 17, Dandenong, separated by commas. If you think carefully about it, there's another problem with this program. If I typed in a name and said Pam, John, guess what would happen here? I'd have Pam, John, and then I would have my 17, Dandenong. That would completely mess up the data because it would now assume John is the age. So again, if we're writing this program more seriously, we'd make sure that commas couldn't be typed in, or if a person typed in a comma, that the program removed the commas before it tried to save the data. All right. Because we're going to be actually operating on this file by using the software, I'm going to close this off again because Dreamweaver is not that happy about us editing a file that it's looking at. All right, let's go back. And if we go to list visitors now, let's see if that's working. We should have our one visitor in there. And there's our one visitor. There's our THs, our name, our age, and suburb, all nice and bold. We have Pam, 17, and Dandenong. So they're all there. Okay. And if you've done what I asked you to do, you've added a little form to the bottom of this page, which allows you to have a menu button, and that menu button will take you back to the menu. All right. Let's put in another visitor. Jack, 23, lives in Wood End. And let's save that one. And if that's working correctly now and I go list visitors, then I should have 2 rows this time. Remember, this goes around until it runs out of the file. All right, go back to our menu. Again, if I go here and actually look physically at the file, and I double click on this file, you should see that there's now blank space as expected, and we've got 2 lines of data in there. Why? Because it did blank space, enter the data, and then it did again another new line and entered the data. So it's obeying what we do. What we got there, we can see there's only lines 1, 2, and 3. There's no line 4 with nothing on it. Okay, good. Let's close that again for safety's sake. All right, if I want to do some debugging, it would be really nice if I could just double check what was happening, say, in our retrieve program. And in the retrieve program, I put a bit of debug code at the bottom there, but I commented it out. Here's our debug code down the bottom here. What I've done, I don't think yours has echo debug, but I've put that there for neatness. So I'm going to have it put on the screen debug, and afterwards it's going to put these 3 lines. I'm going to activate this by taking out the /* and taking out the // at the other end. what this does, this will echo on the screen debug, so I know there's a bit of debug code. Remember to disable it later on when I get into production. Pre says whatever format the data is in that's being sent to it, send it that way. Normally, if I write something out nice and neatly and put new lines in there and type it into Dreamweaver or into a web page, it won't show it that way. It will show it as one long piece of text. Why? Because HTML expects to have the angle bracket P's and the angle bracket slash P's to indicate that's a new line, or angle bracket BRs to say just goes directly to the new line without a space. And this statement here, this print R statement, doesn't do that. It sends the data neatly, but it doesn't put the P's or the BRs or anything in like that to format it for HTML. The pre says, do put the new lines in there, do put the spaces and tabs and everything else so it looks right. Print R means print readable, and I've asked it to print readable the array, because I'd like to see what's in this array. And that will let us know whether things are going right. If this doesn't work up here, where's the problem? Have I actually got the data in here, or is there something wrong with this code? What's the mistake? So I'm going to put this debug in here. Let's see what that does. All right, so now if I go to list visitors, it does what it's supposed to do. See the little asterisk up here? If I don't save it, it won't happen. Okay, let's try again. Okay, if I go to list visitors, it lists it using all the correct, but right at the end there, the statement debugger appears on the screen, and we can see here this has two items in the main array, so it's an array, has two items in it, and each of those items are themselves little arrays, and they have 0 for Pam, 1 for 17, 2 for Dandenong, and then down here the second item is an array, and it has this information. So I can see clearly that what data is in there. I can see what's going on. Really, really handy. And you can use printr for any variable, all right, but especially useful for arrays which are complex and you want to see exactly their structure. The pre's make sure it lays out neatly like this. Without the pre's, this would just be one long string of horribleness. Okay? Last place I'd like to do that is to check what was posted. And let's go back here. And in the save routine is supposed to have information sent to it. Now I've already populated this to save myself some time and to shorten the video a little bit. It's exactly the same sort of statement. Again, I've gone echo debug just so I can see on screen this is a debug. And I've got my pre's in there. And this time what I'm going to print readable is I'm going to print the $post. So that'll show me everything that's inside the $post. Okay, let's give that a go. By the way, you can see here, this is just the raw code. You won't have name, age, suburb. You will have FVs and capital N's. You won't have here as well. You'll have the appropriate variables in here. That's something you should have already sorted out in your data dictionary. Okay, let's see what this does for us. So I'm going to put in a new visitor. Samantha, age is 42 and lives in Ringwood. Okay, and we're going to click save. Again, Robert, just think about it. I'm not very good with little asterisks up there. Save it. All right, try again. And I've cheated. I've gone and put the data back there. Okay, click save. And note what happens here. We get the array and it flashes away. Oh, bother, I say. I didn't get a chance to check whether that was right. Well, we need to fix the code, don't we? We need to stop the code from flashing away. How can I do that? Well, I know down here I've got this 2-second delay. So this is my 2-second delay down here, and then it takes me off to exercise3.php. Not anymore. I've made it a comment temporarily. All right. So new visitor, Henry, age 55, lives in Goulburn. Hit save. Now I can see it. It's not going to go away because I've stopped it from going up. Oh, Robert, you're doing so badly. I'm going to cry. I'm going to cheat. Save. All right. I'm sorry. I can see it. Now notice that because this is a post variables are what are known as an associative array. Rather than having a 0, 1, 2, 3, etc., they actually have actual words in for each of the descriptions of what this particular part of the array is. So there's a name bit, there's an age bit, and a suburb bit. We'll talk about associative arrays later. Okay, I'm done. That'll do. Apologies for the number of times I had to go backwards and repeat things.